Media and its user convergence has blurred many multiple platforms and further tried to evoke a sense of reality in so many ways, merely because I personally believe that reality simply doesn't exist online. How media constantly try to reflect and stimulate reality, which isn't real reality anyway, shows that we are continually being surrounded by stimulated examples of visuals, images, art, data, etc., and that without us even being aware of it. As Baudrillard acknowledges, these images and pictures substitute themselves for the world. The phases include the reflection of a basic reality, the masks and perverts of basic reality, and what actually masks this absence of a basic reality. In light of this, we come across a particular term, metadata. This is what I want to discuss today. A type of data frequently accessed and used and ever so crucial to our ever-growing digital world. It plays a huge part because it further provokes the stimulation of reality. It majorly contributes by enriching our experience with a particular data, thereby fragmenting reality and experience. And by studying data, metadata, content, and etc., we realize how the growth of ubiquity in relations to data evidently come to mind. The ubiquity of endless networks, data entering us into the information era. Data is everywhere, and that's basically what ubiquity means. It's just everywhere, all around us. It is merely all around us. It engages with us. It begs for our attention. It spurs our emotion, constantly enlightens us. Its omnipresence surrounds us, both online and offline. And this is what data is. Meaning, not just the new converging forms of media platforms, but it's also traditional forms which pre-existed within the information era. However, it is evident that the ubiquity of our networked era became much more prominent within the past few years. So what exactly is metadata, and how do I know when I come across one? You probably already have. Metadata is simple and significant in its contribution towards the stimulation and representation of data. It's a set of data which describes and gives information and basically manages another data. And in doing so, it actually, or personally I believe, it improves and enriches the experiencing of that particular data. Hence the reason I believe it significantly contributes to the stimulation of a particular reality online. Metadata is a crucial part of our digital world today. It does truly enrich one's experience online, and without it, I don't think it would be the same. I reckon it'd truly be rather bland and rather confusing and whatnot. Without this whole management and information of a data, managing another data, it would not be the same. As Andrew discussed in the lecture also, data and metadata allows for new systems of communication or new assemblages of communication in complex systems. And the more complex the system, the more crucial metadata is needed. And this is really interesting, but also this is really evident within our world today. As our digital era grows more radically, grows more complex, into new forms, into new ways and whatnot, like especially I know like because we're like the generation where we grow up online, but if I give my mum like I taught her how to do iTunes, I just taught her to do it, she wouldn't understand, and I guess for example, something explaining iTunes, or for example, better yet, a TV guide, things like that. These things that manage other data would be much more easier, and this is why I'm saying it enriches the whole experience. For example, I brought a new TV about 1 month ago. How would I even know to turn it on, or how would I even know how to set it up without the guide, without the manual? And this is another example where metadata is evidently present. Or when I bought my Galaxy Tab, I'm an Apple user, and the hardest thing is when an Apple user converts to becoming an Android user. And I know I really relied on the manual. I really relied on online resources, especially when I started to use this Galaxy Tab, because it was just so confusing. There was just so much data that I didn't understand. There was so much information, but I guess the metadata, the pre-existing data, the pre-data helped me and contributed a lot to my understanding and usage. But in saying this, I'm not just talking about that kind of metadata, but rather online. And the reason why I believe metadata kind of contributes to the stimulation of reality is because this sort of data evokes and provokes the data that it is talking about and kind of managing. And as I said, I don't believe that online there is a pure stimulation of real reality. I don't believe that there is not one part of the internet that has been fragmented, been played around, reprocessed and restructured. Even Sydney Morning Herald, even all these things that just come on, they're not real. They're not as real as like a real thing I've got in my hand because it's online. And sorry, this is not a newspaper, it's a Bible, but I'm just saying, even, things like e-readers that have come in and the books there, like, it's a stimulation of reality, and I believe that metadata contributes hugely to this. So as much as we understand that the internet ultimately fragments and doesn't do justice when it comes down to reality, because we are in such a media-saturated world and we are so oblivious to this truth, I really believe even if we knew about this truth that, media and internet and all that is not really real and all that, it wouldn't really do justice, it wouldn't really change anything. We don't really care about reality. I believe that this century has turned into a century where we care more about our convenience, hence metadata. We care more about efficiency, effectiveness, and which is why I believe metadata is a core driving factor today within the digital era and an essential concept needed within this era.